Greetings and hallucinations, all of you people out there in FAF land. I have a game for you today on Stina 3. This is a hilarious map. Tight packed, 4 versus 4, lots of Navy, single land choke with an absolutely ludicrous amount of reclaim in the center. This map has actually made it into fail compilations a couple of times for multiple ACU nukes. There was one, I believe Shepard casted, where 7 out of 8 ACUs pulled a simultaneous nuke. And I have been in a game where all 8 ACUs went up in a single chain reaction in the center. So sad, and yet so funny to see when that happens. Hopefully this will be an entertaining game, if nothing else. I'm going to keep this slow for a second. We're going to run down the teams very quickly. Top team is going to be Metacore as Aeon in the center slot, the Unpwnable as UEF, Dark Killer as Purple Seraphim, and that is dark blue, not light blue, Hooligan Steve as Seraphim. On the southern side, we're going to have Lexicon as a UEF player. He is going immediate naval factory. That is strange. I see a cruiser rush in the future. Kajix in the rear slot as Aeon, Yorick as a Cybern, and last but certainly not least, Hard Noob as Seraphim. 2 center players are going to run to front, and Dark Killer is bringing an ACU with him, and the other ACUs are pushing forward as well to try to claim as much of that yummy reclaim as they possibly can get their little reclaim beams on. I was about to say hands, but I don't think ACUs actually have hands. They have arms with rather strange things on the ends of them, but not really actually hands. Okay, this is how things generally devolve. You have multiple ACUs at the center. They push back and forth, maybe some point defense, maybe some other crap, some T1 artillery occasionally, some teamwork, some leaving each other out alone to die. Who knows what happens, but there's 3 ACUs versus 3 ACUs, so maybe there won't be any outnumbering to speak of at this particular point. Hard Noob overextending a little bit, getting a little greedy. His teammates are pushing forward to save him though. No, that is going to be subs for Lexicon. He is going for naval denial. And then Yorick has gone Navy as well, pushing out to the side islands to expand. These 2 as yet unclaimed, but Lexicon is moving. If these guys can deny Navy, that is actually a huge bonus. If all of the ACUs survive in the center, T2 upgrade going down for the Unpwnable. That is going to be very powerful. This is a choke point map, so point defense will actually work here. Everyone can shout and rejoice and scream hallelujah because Zap Brannigan is finally approving of a tier 2 point defense. Hover engineer snickers at your attempts to torpedo. So many subs coming out. That is 4 total. Usually don't see that many. Looks like the northern team has a better grip on air control though. Metacore is pushing out some T1 bombers. Frigates on the way for Lexicon. And still more submarines. I don't know why he is still building subs. Naval control is assured. There is more than enough to deny. There's no T2 air that could possibly attempt to torpedo these T1 subs, so he should be shifting to tier 2 at this point. There we go, finally going tier 2. The Unpwnable has successfully pushed back Hard Noob, throwing up those T2 point defense, walk your ACU out to front, get some build power assist from your team, and slowly but surely PD creep your way back. The southern team is going to need to invest into some T2 land, get some mobile missile launchers, or get air control, one or the other, to stop this. Very wisely building T1 anti-air out in front. That is going to prevent mercying And Hard Noob is playing it right. He has got the mobile missile launcher out, and that thing is slowly but surely pounding away at that T2 point defense. Shields going up for the Imponable, but if you can stop the PD rush, there we go. Once you get that stopped, you can throw up your own shields, throw up your own point defense, and the point defense creep will not get any further. Seraphim PD do have higher brute strength and better shield in their T2 point defense wars. They can hold UEF back. UEF point defense is much better versus units, though. Herpa-derpa-doodly-doop. Alright, hover spam pushing back those frigates was an excellent choice by Hooligan Steve, and he is immediately rushing forward with all of the engineers that he can get his hands on to build this naval factory. He desperately needs to get some units in the water. Torpedo bombers coming out for the Imponable. He has shifted to T2 air, as has Kajix. T2 transport dropping off some units out there. And T3 air out for Metacore. He is still slightly behind in score, though. Probably the difference of a RAS. Unponable, surprisingly, higher score than either one of the air players, even with ASF on the field. Not by much, but he is ecoing like a boss. Cruisers out for Lexicon. That is going to do an excellent job of shutting down that point defense creep. He had built a TML there. Unfortunately, he has not gotten to use it. It has 8 loaded in it. He needs to start launching. Otherwise, actually, that would have been hilarious if he launched when Hooligan Steve was standing on top of it. I would have laughed so hard. There was an attempt at a T3 point defense there, but that did not work out at all. Unfortunately, it was much too close, and the MMLs were able to pick it off without much trouble. Hover tanks coming down south now. Very soon, Hooligan Steve will have enough Navy to challenge Lexicon, plus with that hover spam. Yathatha has been rushed by Dart Killer. That was assisted by Metacore. Well done, guys. That was a 15-minute Yathatha. Despite losing the point defense war, here comes the mother of all problems. When you have no ability to stop this whatsoever. T2 point defense behind what on earth? Dark Killer, you need to learn to micro, bro. That is... Really? Really? I can't believe we just watched that. Hard Noob just denied a Yathatha with 7 tier 2 point defense. And boom, Navy took out Hooligan Steve. That was looking so good for the northern team, and sometimes you see games like that. That is hysterical. Absolutely horrendous micro by Dark Killer. Lost the opportunity at front. If he had just simply walked straight forward into those shields, he would have absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, demolished the front side of that team. But instead, he lost over half the health of the thing, went around the back side, and then Navy killed the opposing naval player. So now naval control is firmly back in the hands of Yorick. You saw Yorick with the help of a couple of T2 subs and all of these Tech 1 torpedo launchers. He was able to kill that Yathatha. All of that beautiful mass just laying there, going to waste. Strat bombers coming in for some poor target choices. That was... okay. Metacore boldly proclaiming useless on my right and useless on my left, while oblivious to the fact that he has failed to win air. Although dumping the mass into that 15-minute Yuthatha, which failed so miserably, is probably the reason that he is behind. The Imponable has opted to transport his ACU. That was risky. He was within range of those cruisers for a split second there. I'm surprised they didn't fire. He is going to throw up a series of T2 shields. He does have the shield on his commander, so that is going to be helpful. And he is going to do his best to get up some T3 point defense to start knocking out that Navy and push it back. Cybran destroyers do outrange T3 point defense by 10, but it's going to be hard for them to use that range because of the shape of this land. And here comes another Yuthatha that is going to be able to stand on the edge of the water and wipe out that Navy. So maybe the Northern team will actually be able to come back from this. They have locked down their control of the land again. The Unpwnable doing an excellent job there in getting all of that back online. And then finally Dartkiller doing something good with the Yuthatha and moving to the back to drive that annoying Navy away from the Unpwnable's base. He managed to get out of that only having lost a single T2 power and 1 mass extractor. Not too shabby, my friend. Alrighty. Well, the southern side has total air domination and total naval domination. And somehow they have still not won. There's a battleship on the way from Lexicon. Looks like no T4s right as of this moment. Simply Navy and a whole lot of T3 mobile artillery, which is actually not a bad choice versus a UEF Turtle. Battle cruiser on the way that you thought, why? Dartkiller, what? Oh, you have no intel. Okay, I can excuse you. Cannot see that battle cruiser. He needs to walk forward and die. That is what he needs to do. Walk forward and die. Second Yuthatha down. Although that one was slightly more successful. As we're watching the trend here, we went from useless to denying Navy and actually saving the Unpwnable. Perhaps by the rules of progression, the third one will be able to actually kill someone. The Unpwnable commenting, "You have invented a new way to lose chickens." And I think he is correct in that statement. Seeing some strap bombers massed up on the south here, and honestly, why wouldn't you when you have this good of a handle on air control? You have Navy all over the place. I misspoke earlier, guys. That was T2 subs, not T3. My bad. I was sitting here zoomed in on a Cybran naval factory talking about T3 subs. Definitely not one of my better observations. Alright. When are we going to see our next Yuthatha? Here he comes. Apparently this is all Dartkiller knows how to build. Oh, boom. I saw that right out of the corner. Yes, that was a massive tack launch. Holy cow. That was a dozen tacks pounding through that shield and killing him. The Unpwnable disconnecting, causing a desync. Lexicon, everyone leaving. Oh, that's great. That is great. Alright, guys. Interesting game, I guess. This is tutorial 101 on how not to use a chicken. As long as we all learn from this game in that regard, I think we can call this one a moving forward of the FAF community. Dartkiller, I talk in jest, but I do hope you watch this cast and possibly use them a little better next time, maybe. Alrighty, guys, that is going to wrap it up for me today on the cast. That is 4 in one day. You should feel spoiled. I hope you do space them out over the weekend because, once again, I am not going to be here tomorrow or Sunday. I hope all of you have a brilliantly fantastic weekend. Leave me some replays so I have something to cast on Monday when I come back online. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, help me advance. I love doing this, and I would very much like to get up in viewer count and reach more people. Thank you so much, guys. See ya.